Hello, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a podcast with me, Brittany Duncan, a millennial homemaker. Join me each week as I share all the things I've learned that make keeping your home, garden, and life running smoothly, all while working. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcasting app so you get the episodes downloaded straight to you every Monday. Now, on to today's episode. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a millennial homemaker. Today, I had a different plan for the episode than what I'm actually going to talk to you about today. And really that is because as I finished up the week, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit, not down, but down on myself in that I feel like I'm not following through on my goals and intentions for the year. It's that like end of January, the holiday, New Year energy is wearing off, and the year can seem a little bit daunting in certain areas of your life. Maybe you're feeling this, maybe you're not. The consensus I tend to see just like online things that are people talking about and friends seems to be that a lot of us are feeling that same way. So if you're in that boat, I wanted to dedicate this episode to talking a little bit about that energy, what we can do about it, a little tough love for myself, but then also maybe for you if you need it. Again, with these episodes, always feel like take what is helpful to you and leave the rest. I know not everything I talk about every time is going to be helpful for every listener. I try to do my best to think of things that would be applicable to everyone, but if this isn't for you, that is okay. Don't feel like you should be feeling the way that I am feeling. So with this energy, right, it was like I'm looking around my house. I feel like there's several areas that are not clean, like they're cluttered because of one reason or another. Our laundry room is a pretty big laundry room that we ultimately want to turn into our laundry/gear room. Johnson and I are avid skiers. We fly fish. We do mountaineering, hiking, all these different activities where we have a lot of gear. I mean, between skis and snowboards alone, we have multiple sets each, just because we Nordic ski, we backcountry ski, we downhill ski or alpine ski. So we've got a lot of stuff, and we want to turn this our laundry room into a gear room, which means that we've been trying to basically keep it empty-ish so that when we have the energy and the time to actually start building out shelving in there and really getting down to it, we can do so. But what that means is that everything that is stored in the laundry room normally has found a new home, whether it's in our garage or the flip side of that is like the laundry room was kind of the place that I would shove stuff to get it out of sight, out of mind. Where I'm living, breathing most of the time in our house, between like my office, the bedroom, the kitchen, the living areas, like all that, as long as it looks nice and I can find what I need there, like I don't really care what the garage and the laundry room looks like. So if I had like a pile of stuff that I needed to deal with, but that I wasn't going to deal with right now, that goes in the laundry room. But while we are waiting to get that room situated, I'm not doing that because I don't want to just create piles in there that ultimately we're going to need to move if we ever want to get this project done. So in our dining room right now, I have boxes and boxes of items that I have sourced that are like vintage and antique items that I am hoping to do something exciting with soon. But what that means is that it's all in my living room right now or in our dining room, and that is like a little bit of a stressor. But I had to like just kind of get like a little tough with myself and be like, put up or shut up. Like, you're either going to move the items and find a solution for them right now, which there isn't really a solution right at the moment for that. Like, they are where they need to be for the time being, that. So stop worrying about it. Stop stressing about it. You don't have any company right now. It's you and Johnson. People that do come over, they know that life is in flux. They're probably in the same boat, right? So just getting a little bit real with ourselves in that regard. And on the other side of that is like the things that we can do something about, to actually do something about them. So tonight, like, I was making some sourdough, doing some stuff in the kitchen, and I have been meaning to clean out our fridge for some time now. It wasn't bad by any means, but there's a couple items in there that like I know are expired and I'm just letting them sit there. There were like a couple spills that if I had just wiped up at the time that it happened would have, or like when I first noticed it, would have taken 2 seconds. And so finally I just like, decided that I got to pull myself up by my bootstraps here and like do something about the things I can do something about. So I got a rag. I cleaned like the shelves out. I threw those items that were expired in the trash can. And that like one spill was like I didn't feel like scrubbing it, so I got out a razor blade and just like, razored it off. And it took literally 3 minutes. And then I felt so good about our fridge being clean, organized. I can see what's in there. And those little things, like whether it's making your bed in the morning or giving your fridge a quick clean, washing your sheets, that like single step feels minor, but it's like the domino effect, right? They say that the most successful people make their bed every single morning, and it's because that habit of productive action every single morning leads to more productive action in your life, right? So I cleaned out the fridge, and then I was looking at it, and I can kind of see what I need to get, like what we're low on. And then meal planning and making things is like more inspirational. Like now I'm inspired to actually do something in the kitchen. When you have like clean counters and ingredients, that's where inspiration in the kitchen comes from. If you walk in your kitchen and there's a sink full of dirty dishes, you don't have any space on the countertop, chances are you're not going to feel like, getting into a complicated meal prep situation because it's going to take all that work. So that would be my first challenge to you this weekend. If you are off for the weekend, I know everybody works different hours, but if you have some time off on, Saturday, Sunday, go ahead and just like give your fridge a quick clean through. If you want to get really crazy and get into the freezer too, that's another thing that I myself need to reset. But one of the first episodes that I recorded, it was episode 5, was titled "Your Freezer is Your Friend." And to date, it's one of the most popular episodes. And it's all about using your freezer to your advantage. The freezer can be an amazing tool if you use it properly and keep up with it. But just because you fall off the tracks does not mean that you can't get back on it. It's like we just need to hit that reset button. And that happens in all areas of life. Like if your goal is to be eating healthy and you break down and eat a cupcake that somebody brought into work, you don't just like throw your hands up and be like, oh, well, I'm off the diet. No, you get back on track. So that's the same thing. Like when your fridge gets messy, wipe it out. When you realize that you have nothing in your house to eat because you fell off of your meal planning, just plan like 1 or 2 days of meals. Just like take that first step. You don't have to plan a whole week or a whole 2 weeks of meals and get all the ingredients in and do all that prep work. Like just start small and build back up to where it feels comfortable. I was, scrolling through Instagram today, and Christine, who on Instagram is the Healthy Homemade Mama, had put up this post about that feeling that you want to be making more from scratch or more homemade things, and how, she was recommending like start with one thing. And it just gave me like this flashback to when Johnson and I were, I think we were married. We were newly married, and this is when I was really starting to get into cooking, but also starting to realize that a lot of things I could make myself at home, and also that they would be a lot healthier if I did so. And I went like balls to the wall trying to like basically overnight make anything and everything I could from scratch, which is not feasible. Like if you've ever made sourdough, you know that's a pretty much like a full day process. You're not doing it, like hours straight for a full day, but it's something like you've got to be home so that every hour or, for a couple hours, like every 15 minutes, you're doing something with it. So those kind of things, it's not like if you don't work from home, it's not feasible to think that you're going to be able to make sourdough and make your own tortillas and make your own English muffins and also start your own yogurt and kombucha and whatever else in the same day. Like you'll maybe do that once and you will get burnt out. So starting with that one thing that feels doable is a great way to get into it. I mean, I would say one of the easier things, like if you want to start this journey of making things from scratch that, and not buying them from the store anymore so you know what's in them, or just to be like a little more self-sustaining, something that's really easy to start with is nut butters. Homemade peanut butter, homemade almond butter, cashew butter, sunflower seed butter, you name it. You can super easily make it yourself if you have a food processor. For almond butter, all you do is put your raw almonds, if they're not already baked, on a baking sheet at 350 for 10 minutes, let them cool, and then put them in your food processor and blend it, scraping down the sides every so often as needed until it becomes almond butter. There's enough natural oil in these nuts and seeds that when blended or pulsed for long enough, they become like a nut butter. Emulsion's not the word, but it like naturally will turn into a butter. You don't need to add oil. You don't need to add anything else to it. It is going to be perfect the way, like just the nut blended. And that's really nice to know what's in there. So we make our own peanut butter. I just buy dry roasted peanuts, unsalted. You can get the salted ones if you want, but I prefer to like control the sodium myself. And those dry roasted peanuts, with those, you don't even have to bake anything. You just pour them in the food processor and blend it. It's just the raw nuts that you want to bake first. So if you're looking for something to start with, that's a great option. Same with things like if you have an Instant Pot, the yogurt feature on it is actually not very difficult to use. And if you have to buy a nut milk bag to strain out the whey if you're going to want Greek yogurt, but that's like a pretty easy thing to make yourself if you want to. So just start small. Pick something and decide that you're going to make that thing from scratch. And then when you feel like you've got that down, build on from there. Don't, decide overnight that you're going to be making everything from scratch, because learn from my mistakes. It doesn't work that way. But this is just my call to action to, it's okay. Let's get our energy back. All we have to do is click that reset button. And once we clean up one area, it's pretty infectious and you want to do the next. Small tasks, chip away at it. But cleaning up the fridge does wonders for actually wanting to cook and be in your kitchen and realize what ingredients you even need. And in terms of making things, maybe challenge yourself this weekend once you've cleaned your kitchen and maybe ordered some groceries or done a little grocery shop to make something from scratch that you can enjoy next week, whether it's putting on a loaf of banana bread so that you have it in the mornings, or making some egg bites so that you have your protein source for breakfast already figured out, prepping some smoothie packs, whatever that thing is that's going to help you feel like you can go into Monday more prepared, more confident, feeling like we are achieving our goals. Let's do that. So I will be tackling the freezer this weekend. I've got some sourdough that I worked on today that I'll be baking tomorrow morning and stocking those up in the freezer. So I did my challenge today and I feel much better about everything. So I hope this is helpful. That January energy can be rough, but know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Spring is around the corner. For those of us that garden or, like to be outside, winter can be, we're inside a lot. We're in our homes a lot. And that means that there's more cleaning to be done in the home. There's more, you're seeing all the little things that bug you. But just remember, it's still a home. It's not Instagram. It's not Pinterest. Those homes are staged. This is real life. And you got to meet yourself where you're at and be patient with yourself, but also be willing to take that step to move in the direction you want to go. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend, and I will see you back here on Monday. Thank you for listening to this episode of Untraditionally Traditional. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with those special people who would love it too, and write a review. For more tips and photos of my home and garden, follow Untraditionally Traditional Pod on Instagram. Until next week, let's continue to make our homes places of joy and service to ourselves and those we share them with.